Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 4, I think it is. This week you're reading chapter 4 in Thurston's book, and it's about the Gospels of Mark and John. So I want to tell you a little bit about the Gospels in general. The Gospel is a genre that's all about the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. And we have 4 Gospels in the New Testament. There were many others that were written, but these are the 4 that were accepted. The first one, Mark, we think that was written first. And it was written by someone who was a friend of Peter. Mark was not one of the apostles. Then we have Matthew's gospel and Luke's that we think were kind of written at the same time, kind of neither of them knowing that the other one was writing. And then we have the Gospel of John that was written quite a bit later. Okay, so John and Matthew were both apostles. Mark and Luke were not. Luke knows everything he knows from Paul. And Matthew, although is given credit for one of the Gospels, we really don't believe that he actually wrote it. We would say that because he relies pretty heavily on the Gospel of Mark for information, and it wouldn't make sense for someone who was an eyewitness to rely on someone who wasn't an eyewitness for the information. Matthew's Gospel is not talked about in this book, so just to give you a little background in that Gospel, it really focuses on men and important men, and it's the first Gospel in the New Testament because it was a really nice bridge from the Old Testament to the New Testament. It is a nice bridge because it starts with a genealogy. It has lots of the teachings of Jesus, and it shows Jesus as a teacher, and therefore it lent itself really well to the early church. So each gospel writer has their own kind of agenda, what they're trying to prove, and who they're talking to has a lot to do with that. So who their audience is kind of matters. And we think Mark was writing to suffering Christians at the time, at the beginning of the persecutions. And so he portrays Jesus as suffering too, and he's trying to say, you can make this just like Jesus did, and your reward can also be a resurrection. We think Matthew was writing to Jewish Christians, and there's a lot of emphasis on Judaism. It refers to the Old Testament about 60 times, kind of proving that Jesus fulfilled the Old Testament prophecies. Luke was written to Gentiles, which is very unique. Luke is the only non-Jewish writer in the New Testament. And he's trying to show Jesus as very compassionate, and his gospel focuses on the lowly, which includes women. And then John's gospel portrays Jesus as life-giving, and his audience is all people. But again, this was written later. It was the last one written. And you'll see when you look at it that John's gospel is the most unique of the gospels. This makes sense if you know that he had already read the other 3 gospels. And if you and I were to write a 4th account of something that 3 other people had written about, we would want to fill in the blanks, just tell the stories that they haven't told already. Anyway, that's a little bit about the Gospels. You're going to read about Mark and John this week and Luke next week. So I just wanted to give you a little background to that. Also, I want to give you a heads up that you have a paper due on February 19th. And some of you are starting to email me with questions about this, so I want to talk about that. This paper has to be over a Marian topic, meaning a topic about the Virgin Mary. You can research either a Marian apparition. This is what we call it when Mary has appeared to people throughout history, and there's lots and lots of apparitions. You could write about a Marian devotion like the Rosary or Novena or the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, or you could research one of our teachings about Mary. We teach that she was forever a virgin, that she was assumed body and soul into heaven, that she herself was immaculately conceived. So any of those topics would be fine. The paper can be whatever style you're used to, although I'm most familiar with MLA. Make sure it starts with an introduction. To me, an introduction is good if it starts off broad and narrows down to the topic and includes kind of at the bottom of the first paragraph or somewhere near the beginning of the paper, kind of an internal summary of what you'll be talking about. Also, make sure that this is a formal paper and you don't use any personal pronouns. So the first line of the paper shouldn't be about your topic. That should be a few lines down. It shouldn't be it shouldn't end abruptly. There should be a conclusion. The last paragraph shouldn't have any new information. A conclusion just summarizes what you've already said. You have to cite your sources inside of the paper. This means that there's some sort of internal citations, whether that be parentheses or you have footnotes or something like that. And that should lead me to a works cited page that also lists your sources. You need at least 4 outside sources, good, reliable sources. And the paper itself is supposed to be 4 to 6 pages long. make sure that it's at least 4 full pages. This does not include a title page. You do not have to put a title page on. If you put one on, that's fine, but it doesn't count as the length. Any questions you have about the topics, let me know. But again, there's in the syllabus kind of an explanation of the different things that you would maybe research, and then some questions to try to answer as you research. I also include in the syllabus a rubric for this, and so it's out of 150 points. Make sure you look over the rubric. Keep sending me your questions, and I hope you have a great week. I hope you find a warm place in the next few days. It's supposed to snow quite a bit this week. See you later.